We don't have Wattpad phases anymore, and it shows.
I had something really profound to say, and I forgot. It's been like 2 months.
Hello, everyone. I know this whole Audra Winter thing has been going on forever. I'm not the person to sit here and give you the facts about what she did and if she scammed people. That's not what I'm here to talk about today. This whole Audra Winter thing has woken people up to the realities of indie publishing and standards falling too low. However, this situation has given me hope that people aren't just accepting anything from authors. But listen, publishers, they're making the same thing over and over again. They're putting the same plot, they're putting A Court of Thorns and Roses, and they're repackaging it in this shiny, nice, romantic-y picture for young girls and teens to enjoy. And that's the problem. You get all of these authors who are getting published, yes, but the standards of the industry just aren't as good anymore. If you're going to be a writer, you need to be able to accept criticism in any and every form. You don't become better by sitting around in a room full of yes men. Yes, you write the best books in the world. Yes, you're perfect. You have no way of improving. Face it, nobody's perfect. Even the best writers, their first drafts, having it be this home run of a book, it's just not gonna happen, okay? There's always something that you can improve on. It takes a level of arrogance to sit there and say that you don't have to. 3 fanfiction.net, Wattpad. I still go on AO3 sometimes. There's some good shit on there. Everybody who grew up writing on Wattpad, their Doctor Who fanfictions, their werewolf stories, okay, that was the character development you needed to turn into a better writer. But here's the difference between people who had their Wattpad phases and grew out of them and people who perhaps never got the chance to have a Wattpad phase. You decided that the story that you made when you were 12 was good enough to publish to people who are paying their hard-earned dollars on your work. As a former, Wattpadder, can I call myself that? Is that what we're calling ourselves? Can we do that? Wattpadders, Wattpaddies? I would never in a million years upload anything I had ever written between those formative ages of 13 to 15, okay? It is horrendous. And did they maybe get 100K views? Possibly. But you know what? We could forgive it because we were all 13 and 14 and nobody knew what good writing is. But now we do. Your audience, if you're writing for a young adult audience, you can't just sit there and think that you can just write whatever. Young women, young people are smart enough to learn good writing from bad writing.
Hi. It's been about 2 months since I've been here. Might be noticing a couple of things. My hair's a different color. Pillow wasn't here before. This wasn't here before. This wasn't here before. Oh, and she wasn't here before. Hello Kitty's making an appearance. I think she fell. Hold on, let me fix her. She's very pretty. But I was like, you know what? The space needs a couple of stuffed animals to make it look better. And if we're going to be talking about how writers suck, then why not add a couple of stuffed animals to, lighten the mood just a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Who are we talking about? We're talking about Audra Winter. I had something really profound to say, and I forgot because it's been like 2 months. We deserve good books. That's the thing. Indie, trad pub, it doesn't matter. We deserve good books. We deserve books with good plots. We deserve books that have been looked over by several editors. I know she was saying, in recent updates, I had this many editors. I had this. The end product just did not give that. I saw some things online that, the story was originally, put on Wattpad, and low-key, maybe that's where it should have stayed. I think that if Audra Winter had, put this through a couple of unbiased beta readers, had maybe edited it. I saw that she said that, she edited it. But I find that hard to believe because when I opened and purchased that book, I had to click away after reading 3 pages of it because it gives my first draft when I don't even want to write at 5 a.m. I'm just writing shit down. That's what it gave. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just telling you my honest opinion from reading the book. I was shocked. It doesn't just start or end with Audra Winter, okay? I was watching Beautiful Disaster with my roommates and I was like, oh my god, this is really, really funny. But actually sitting down and reading this book, I would have tore my hair out because what is going on? And if you notice, go look at Amazon Prime, okay? And go look for that little opening where it's like Wattpad, like webtoon or whatever it is, okay? There's a lot of movies coming up recently with that little opening, and I don't know who is in the business of making Wattpad stories into movies, but they need to be stopped immediately. Here's the thing, first things first, it's going to be Audra Winter on TikTok and her little drama, and when she releases that second book, I'm putting it down now. She's getting a movie deal. She's going to have a whole bunch of series, and then we're going to look back at this. We're going to be like, how did this happen? But it's because I don't know. There's an epidemic. There is an epidemic of Wattpad books becoming movies. And honestly, they should have never left the draft. So what did Audra Winter teach us other than, TikTok drama can last for 3 months, because I'm still talking about it. I know I'm late. Don't say anything and be like, girl, we already heard that. I forgot that I made a YouTube channel, but now I remember and I want to talk about it. We learned that maybe you should look at your book 8,000 trillion million gazillion times before you publish it, as a person who wants to be published in the future. Did it scare me a little? Maybe, but also, I thought I just wouldn't send my book out to the world and not edit it and have it torn into shreds by 5,008 million people before it even hits the eyes of my mother. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't do that. Personally, me personally. I appreciate that Audra was trying to bring something, original to the table. I don't really know how original zodiacs are in this day and age, but it wasn't a court of, a blade of, what else do they have? Kingdom of, you know what I'm saying? Which, speaking of a court of roses and thorns, court of, whatever that book is called, you know what I'm talking about, Sarah J. Maas. I'm gonna be reading you tonight, tomorrow night, whenever I feel like it. And I'm gonna post a review sometime, and we're gonna compare my reaction with my roommate's reaction because she loved the book. And I am a serial hater of everything. So we're gonna see how that goes. Back on topic. It is not just trad publishing. It is not just indie publishing. There is a problem, and if you want me to be honest, I think it starts with capitalism. I understand that you want to publish the book you made when you were 10 years old. All right. Maybe it was good to your 10-year-old self, but I promise you, anyone between the ages of 18 to 895 don't want to read a book made by a 10-year-old. There's a difference between you taking that book and saying, what kind of works in here and how can I make it mature? She didn't mature with her book. She wanted her book to stay the exact same as it was when she was 12. And simply, you just cannot have that. I understand being attached to that world. I understand being attached to those characters. But as a writer, your work needs to grow with you in the different phases of life that we take. There is no way that you should be putting out a book that you made when you were 10 and simply line editing it. This is going to set a precedent. I don't think that people are going to be as trusting when it comes to buying books from the TikTok shop or buying indies books, because at the end of the day, you don't know what product you're getting. You don't know if it's going to be Audra Winters or Brandon Sanderson. You have no idea. Situation opened up people's minds to the fact that niggas are just writing. They're just putting shit down on pen and paper, and sometimes it don't make sense. A lot of things have happened since I first made this video. I'm not caught up on the Audrey Winter debacle. I just think that writing is a gift and writing is a craft, and if you want to share that to the world, number one, you have to prepare for criticism, and number two, don't play with people's money. That's the main thing, especially in the world that we're living in today. Don't play with people's money. That's it. Understand sometimes that if it isn't working, maybe it just isn't working, and move on to the next thing. There's so many times where I've been working on my book and I've said, this isn't working. I'm hitting myself upside the head trying to make it work. Let me focus on my next project. Let me focus on a short story. Let me focus on something for school instead, because you can get those creative juices flowing. You can, through the learning process, you can figure out what did I do that didn't work and how can I fix it. By reading, you can figure that out. There's no way just hitting yourself upside the head and hoping one day, just one day, one of these days, it's gonna work for you. Maybe, but probably not.